I'm Susan.
Standing in the midst of the chaos at the Seattle Yacht Club, I watched as my parents' carefully constructed facade crumbled before my eyes. The room was filled with gasps and screams as the damning video of my grandmother's cruel abandonment played on the screen. My father, Robert, stood frozen at the microphone, his face ashen. My mother, Vivian, collapsed in a heap, her sobs echoing through the ballroom. It was a far cry from the opulent vow renewal ceremony they had planned, a desperate attempt to impress a tech investor and secure a loan after my brother Ethan's latest business venture went belly up. They thought they had successfully disposed of the problem, my 82-year-old grandmother, Amelia. Little did they know they were about to face the consequences of their actions. I remembered the night it all started. It was around 4:30 in the morning, and I was jolted awake by the security camera alert on my phone. On the screen, I saw Robert pull up in his leased BMW and roughly drag Amelia out of the car. She was wearing nothing but a thin nightgown and slippers. Vivian followed, throwing 2 large duffel bags at her feet. "You're ruining Ethan's investor event. If you die out here, it's less trouble," she sneered. I rushed to the front door, but it was too late. Their taillights disappeared into the rain, soaked darkness. Amelia sat on the cold porch, her body shaking violently. I wrapped her in the warmest blanket I had and helped her onto my old couch. As I made her a cup of tea, I reflected on the years of being the family's silent savior. A few years back, I was living paycheck to paycheck, barely able to afford groceries. But when Robert called, crying about losing his office space if he didn't pay the rent immediately, I emptied my savings. Meanwhile, Ethan was posting pictures of his luxury vacations on social media, bragging about his success, funded by Amelia's pension. My parents lived in a large, historic house in the suburbs, but they couldn't even afford to heat it properly. They drove expensive cars they couldn't insure and were drowning in debt, all in an attempt to maintain an illusion of wealth. The next morning, as I was about to cancel the monthly transfer that had been supporting Robert's office for years, I hesitated. The fear of the family falling apart, ingrained in me over the years, held me back. But then I saw Amelia sitting at the kitchen table, her eyes clear and her posture straight. She was holding a well-worn brown leather journal. "Did you cancel it?" she asked. I was shocked. How did she know? She explained that she had been feigning confusion and forgetfulness, the possum strategy, to catch them in their lies. She showed me the journal, filled with detailed accounts of their thefts and deceptions over the past 6 years. Amelia then gave me a key to a safety deposit box at the local bank. Inside, I found deeds to the house my parents lived in and a large commercial building where Robert's firm rented office space. She was the real landlord, and Robert was months behind on rent. The pieces fell into place. They had thought they were getting rid of a burden, but they had actually declared war on the real power in the family. Back at the yacht club, Amelia, now dressed in a stunning vintage Dior suit, walked in flanked by 2 police officers and her lawyer. She took the microphone from Robert and said, "I'm not in a care facility. I'm your landlord, and this party is over." The lawyer handed Robert the eviction notices. His office, assets, and accounts were seized. Ethan tried to escape, but was stopped by an officer. Vivian's fake fainting act fell flat, as no one came to her aid. I walked up to my parents. "You always made me pay for your mistakes," I said. "Now it's your turn." Amelia took my hand, and we walked out as the room erupted in chaos. In the following days, my parents were evicted from their house. Their friends disappeared, and they ended up in a cheap motel. Ethan had to get a job as a barista. 2 months later, as I sat with Amelia in a penthouse overlooking the city, watching the rain fall, she said softly, "We didn't lose a family. We got rid of leeches." And I knew that from that day on, our lives would be different.